What's happening, all y'all? Hope everybody's good. This is your main man, Frank Kern, coming at you live. It is now 9:48 a.m. Eastern Time. Friday, the 6th of March, trying to do the double stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. What we're going to try to do today is kill two birds with one stone. We're going to try to go live on Facebook and YouTube, which apparently seems to be working, and knock out a podcast episode at the same time. The name of the podcast is going to be, the name of the podcast episode is going to be, I forgot, whatever it was I put in the title of this video, the fastest and easiest way to increase revenue. In parentheses is not what you think. All right. So it's kind of weird because I'm going to do the podcast recording on camera, but hey, multitask, why not? Let's see how it goes. So the way I do podcasts, super high tech. All right. Incidentally, if you didn't know I have a podcast, it's because I'm a terrible podcast marketer. You can go to subscribetofrank.com. If someone would type that in the comments, I sure would appreciate it. And that'll take you to the podcast page. And apparently it redirects to the right device or something. So if you do it from your phone, it'll take you, if you do it from your iPhone, it'll take you to iTunes. If you do it from whatever other types of phones there are, it'll take you to Spotify or something. Kind of cool. Anyway, so here's how we record the podcast. Very, very high tech. What I do is I get out the old phone and I have this app called Just Press Record, and I just press record. So that's what we're going to do. All right, you ready? Here we go. Recording the old podcast. What was the title of it again? Fastest and easiest way to increase revenue. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Hey everybody, this is your main man, Frank Kern, coming at you at 9:40 something in the morning. I'm recording this for you on Friday, the 6th of March. Been a little bit of a delay between the last couple of podcast episodes. My apologies. I've been moving. Moved about a mile down the road. Exhausting. Actually, I really didn't do anything. We had other people handle everything. It was great, but you know how it is when you're moving. So we're back in the game. Now, the name of this episode is, I forgot what I'm going to title it. I think it's the fastest and easiest way to increase revenues, and in parentheses, and it's not what you think. All right, so thing number one, ain't no such thing as fast and easy in business, unless you want to talk about losing money. Losing money you can do real fast and real easy, but business is hard. It's a pain in the butt. So I want to kind of get that out of the way. We're not going to talk about some dumb get rich quick business opportunity BS or whatever. But there is one thing that I've noticed that can have a dramatic effect on revenue really, really quickly for an established business anyway. And it's not really that hard to implement except for psychologically. All right, so I'll tell you a story. It's story time with Frank on the Frank Kern podcast. Okay, so here it goes. I got started back in the day, 1999. I was a spammer. Oh, the glamour of it all. This was before it was illegal, so at least I've got that going for me. And I sold this little CD thingy with reprint rights for a couple $100. I was some dude's affiliate, and he taught me how to spam, and I was spamming his offer. Kind of embarrassing. And then I put together a collection of ebooks with reprint rights for $47. And then I started selling dog training material for $47. I don't know where I got the $47 from, but it seemed to work, so I just I don't know, $47. And I built that dog training business up to be a pretty good business. And the way that dog training thing would work is the thing that was for sale was a series of audio recordings that I had done on my computer, which was a Gateway. Y'all remember that? Gateway laptops? It was a Gateway laptop, and I plugged in some little headphone mic or whatever, and I just talked about dog training because one of the jobs I had coming up was I was the dude that installed invisible fences. So I trained a lot of dogs. So it was all positive reinforcement-based training. So I created this dog training product empire. And the way the funnel worked was people would see a Google AdWords ad. And so if they owned a poodle or something, they would see an ad that said, before you try to train your poodle, read this. And then they would go to a landing page that was about poodles. It would get their name, their email address, and their dog's name. And it would be like, hey, before you train your poodle, read this. And then the autoresponder sequence would be all about like, hey, here's, what never to do when training your poodle. And it would drive them to a sales letter that was about poodles. And so, I would get someone to opt in, and then I would have to send them 757 billion emails before they would buy the dog training course about poodles. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is because the way that I grew that business is I invented this methodology called the serializer method. And what the serializer method was a software program combined with general strategery. All right. So the way serialization worked is you would take a market, such as the dog market, that had a lot of sub niches in it, and you would get a list of all the sub niches. So in this case, it was a list of all of the dog breeds, of which there were like 600 something different types of dogs. And you would feed it into this computer program that I had created. And what the computer program would do is it would take the very first dog breed or whatever the thing on your list was, and it would go to the Google keyword suggestion tool, and it would get every relevant keyword that was related to that thing, and it would put it in a folder. And so then it would do that for everything on the list, So for every breed of dog, I had this folder with like 1,000 different, poodle related keywords, Affenpinscher related keywords, yada, yada, yada. Then the software would upload those keywords to Google AdWords in its own ad group. And then the software would create a dynamic landing page into the sales copy. And it would insert it into the opt-in page. And it would hide the dog breed as a hidden field on the opt-in form. So when somebody opted in, it would the autoresponder messaging would say, hey, here's how to train your insert dog breed here. And it would say poodle or Affenpinscher or whatever. So what I was able to do was I was able to go from just being in the dog training business with one website to being in the dog training business with 643 different websites immediately by using this little methodology that I created, which is called the serializer. So one day, it dawned on me that, the internet marketing folks out there, they're going to figure this out. I was doing it under a pseudonym and all of this kind of stuff. I was trying to hide that it was me because I didn't want anyone to copy it. I was like, they're going to figure this out, and someone's going to build this dang program and they're going to sell it for like $7 or something, and it's going to screw me up, So I started thinking about maybe I should sell this software and maybe I should teach this methodology. So one day I'm driving down the road and I start talking to a friend of mine who I haven't talked to in forever, a super cool guy by the name of Kurt Christensen. And he was telling me how he had just done a seminar on some AdWords related stuff or AdSense or something for 10 grand. And I was like, dude, seriously? You did a $10,000 seminar? And he was like, yeah, man, I don't know. I was like, I'm just going to charge 10 grand. It worked. And I was like, I'll be damned. And so I hung up with Kurt and I was like, it's possible to do a $10,000 seminar, or maybe even more. I don't know. I had heard about it happening. Jay Abraham was famous at the time, still is, of course, for doing $25,000 seminars and stuff. But no one I had known had ever done a high-ticket seminar. Keep in mind, this is 2005 or 6. And so eventually, my paranoia of people copying this serializer program started to grow enough to the point where I was like, you know what, dang it, I'm going to do a seminar. And I think I'll charge 10 grand and see what happens. Because if one person, I've got this belief, by the way, and I find it very helpful, which is if one person can, so can many, so can I. And so that's a belief that I hold for a lot of stuff. Some things it doesn't count, I'm not going to go and lift the same amount of weight as Dwayne Johnson tomorrow, but you get the point. So I'm like, screw it, I'm going to try to do a $10,000 seminar. Now, keep in mind, I had never done a seminar in my life. So I began the marketing for the seminar, and people didn't really know me back then. I had a little list, a couple thousand people or whatever, and I started doing the build up to the seminar, and I'm showing them behind the scenes the dog business. Didn't tell them what the business was. I'm like, hey, here's my screenshots of my daily revenue from this business. I've built this business using this software and this methodology called the serializer. the tickets are going to go on sale to the seminar at 9 a.m. on May 1st or whatever. I can't remember the dates, and I'm like, gosh, I really hope this works, and you're going to have to apply for it and yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to only ever teach it to 100 people. And this first seminar is going to be limited to 35 people. And so I'm like doing that, like a product launch, I think this is before Jeff came out with PLF, but I did get the idea from him because I knew Jeff Walker back then. He was like, hey, dude, you should really like do a lot of build up or something. So thank you very much, Jeff. And so I remember like the days coming up to where it's about to go live. Harlan Kilstein wrote the sales letter for me, I think, for that. Pretty sure he did. Dude's a real good copywriter, by the way. And so the big day comes, and I'm like, prior to the big day, right? I'm on the phone with John Carlton, who's like one of the greatest living copywriters and even greatest copywriters ever. And he's like, dude, I don't know. What are you charging for this dang thing? 10 grand. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to work. And I'm like, oh my God, this is Carlton telling me? So I'm like totally freaked out. Anyway, long story short, the day comes, and within, I think it was 9 minutes, all 35, actually it was 39 seats were taken, and I had to refund 4 of them because I promised I would only have 35 people to this same class. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Couldn't believe it, because they didn't even know what the program was. Like part of the pitch was, hey, listen, you're going to have to sign an NDA in the presence of my attorney when you get to this event, even before you see the software. And it's still sold out. And again, this is before I created Mass Controls, before I, like tried to engineer the pretend internet celebrity stuff. And I'll never forget it, So I made like 350 grand in 9 minutes and was losing my mind. So naturally you would think I would draw like this connection to, hey, instead of selling stuff for $47, maybe I should just sell stuff for more expensive amounts of money. Took me a long time to figure that out. All right. So fast forward a couple years later, do Mass Control, big deal. Now I've like established a big list and kind of created the the notoriety. And I'm like, wonder what would happen if I offered to do like some done for you consulting stuff for 100 grand plus royalties. So I created a direct mail piece and I mailed it out to 1,000 people who had bought Mass Control. And it said, it's 100 grand plus royalties, and you got to meet all this criteria. And here's what to do to apply. 41 people applied. And something like 7 days later, I had a check for $100,000, and the client immediately blew the money, by the way, of course. All right. And so I'm starting to like almost get it, but I still don't get it. So I do that, and that works pretty good. And then I'm like, man, that was a lot of work, but maybe I should try like doing some consulting for less money, but I'm not like doing it one-on-one and doing as much work. And so then I did another letter for 10 grand a month, and my cousin Trey and I were like teaming up on this. And we were like, hey, we'll do consulting with you, and we'll meet either in person or on, I don't even think there was Zoom back then, so Skype or something, for half a day every month for 10 grand a month. And we ended up with 10 clients doing that. I'm just like, this is so crazy, And so finally, it dawned on me years later, because I'm a slow learner, not the sharpest tool in the shed. It dawned on me that selling something that's expensive is no more difficult than selling something that is cheap. So the fastest and easiest way to increase revenue is, without question, hands down, go the premium route. Now, you can't just, I don't want to tell you what you can and can't do, but logic dictates that if you're going to charge premium pricing for something, it's got to be like worth it, right? So I know there are a lot of folks out there, they're like, sure, if you got a course on underwater basket weaving that you're selling for $5, you can turn it into a $10,000 training on underwater basket weaving. And I don't really know if that's 100% true. So I don't know if it's applicable to every single business in the world, but you need to look at whatever it is you're doing and examine, is there an opportunity to go premium in this business, to significantly raise prices? And maybe that would mean increasing the amount of personal attention the customer is given, or increasing the quality of what you're offering. Or it might mean you just add an extra zero and see what happens. I'll give you hard math on this. So I've got books, as you know, frankkernbook.com, clients2020.com, whatever. If you want to get my books, they're a whopping $5.60. To sell one of those dang books, I've got a sales letter for each one of them. The sales letter, if you print each sales letter out, probably like 10 pages long. 10 freaking pages of copy. It's good copy too, by the way. Wrote it myself. It takes 10 pages of copy to sell one of those dang books for $5.60. When I run ads, it costs me anywhere between $15 and $35 in advertising expense just to get somebody to buy a $5.60 book. Now, if we compare that to the cost to acquire a lead, a qualified business consulting lead, for someone saying, I have money, I have a business, and I want to talk to you about actually doing high ticket consulting for me, not like I want to buy a class or whatever, but I literally want to have a consulting engagement with your company. It's costing me about $40 something per qualified business lead to do that. And of those qualified business leads, of the real ones, you know, some of them are funnel hacking me, some of them are fake, some of them never show up for the appointments or whatever, but we got a pretty good close rate, you know, and so it's actually easier for us to sell that, the consulting engagement, for much higher fees than it is to sell a $5.60 book. So my question to you is, where can you go premium in your business? And is there anyone in your market who's charging premium that you could look at and you'd be like, hey, what are they doing? All right. And how can I do a similar but better job of what they're doing? Because when in doubt, like I said, go the premium route. That is, without question, in my personal experience of 20 years, the fastest and easiest way to increase revenue in your business. Okay, thanks so much for listening. And sorry for the delay in getting this week's episode to you. This is part whatever. Is it part 5 now or part 6 of 20 years in under 20 minutes? You guys have a good day. Get out there, help some people, have yourself some fun, and make a lot of money. I'll see you later. Okay, I hit stop record, and there we went. We multitasked. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm using my little laptop's microphone. It might be a little echoey. And now it's time to go to the bank. All right, so off we go. Worked out pretty good. Multitask. Y'all take it easy. Have a good day, good weekend, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.